What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for yet another picks and predictions video. Let's get right to it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Today, we're going to be going over Bellator Champion Series Paris, starting with the prelims all the way to the main event. Starting with Asael Adouj versus Bruno Fontes. And for this one, I'm going to go Bruno Fontes. He's the slight underdog at plus 185. He's very dangerous. He's fought a lot of good competition. In his last two fights, he went the distance and 5 rounds before finishing his opponent. So for a dangerous guy who's used to taking out his opponents quickly, based on his last two fights, I mean, he's not going to gas. He's addressed whatever issues there may have been in the past. The favorite out of France, who's 7-1 as a pro, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, is more of a decision fighter. He's well-rounded, but he's not as dangerous as the Brazilian. Fontes is undefeated, 6-0 as a pro, competed in Jungle Fight, has 3 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 1 decision. Or like I said, the talented 25-year-old out of France, training at SBG Ireland, only 1 submission, 2 knockouts, 4 decisions. And though he has defeated some pretty good opponents in Bellator, I gotta give the edge to the underdog Brazilian here. Let's move on to the next one. Aspen Lad against Ekaterina Shakalova. And for this one, I'm going to go with the favorite, Aspen Lad. She's coming in at minus 160. Look, she went the distance with Kayla Harrison despite losing. Tough run after the UFC. I think she expected it to be a little bit easier, given she didn't have to put her body through hell in that weight cut. Despite the bad luck, though, she is way more well-rounded than Shakalova. Very strong, I think. More experienced. Shakalova is not better than Kayla Harrison. So if this does go the distance, I honestly see Lad doing more. Shakalova is a strong grappler, though. She's 8-1 as a pro. She's out of the Ukraine, 26 years of age, 5-0 in her last 5 fights. 4 submissions, 1 knockout, 3 decisions. Fought in FEN and had 1 fight in Bellator where she beat a 10-8 gal via split decision. All right, Aspen Lad now 2-3 in her last 5 fights, 11-5 as a pro, 29 years of age, 6 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 3 decisions. Invicta Darling, fought in the UFC, now 2-2 in PFL. Karolina Sobek, who's 4-1, that was the girl who she submitted before fighting Kayla Harrison. Look, a layup. Do I think Shalikova is a layup? No. Do I think it's someone who she's going to beat? Absolutely. Let's move on to the next one. Imam Shafi Aliev versus Mike Shipman. Mike Seabass Shipman, by the way, has one of the best monikers in MMA. I'm going with Aliev on this one. Now, the odds are absolutely insane. He's the minus 900 favorite right now. So at plus 600, I'd be crazy not to drop a little sum, maybe a Canadian toonie on that of Seabass. Aliev is the better pick overall, though, despite, I think, the betting odds disrespecting Seabass. Aliev is very tough, and he has very good striking and power. For a guy coming out of the Magomedov camp, it's cool to see that he actually mixes the martial arts. He is keen to strike. Hell, that is a very valuable tool of his in the cage. A Magomedov product who loves striking as much as he does wrestling. Oh lord, that is a scary fighter. He can smother wrestle when needed, but overall I just think he's better all around. He's great everywhere, not just good everywhere. And though Seabass is well-rounded and has fought a lot of good opponents in his pro MMA career, Aliev's going to take this one. Aliev's going to take this one. Shipman's 15-4 as a pro. Like I said, Aliev's 9-0 undefeated. Shipman 2-3 in his last 5 fights. 7 KO TKOs, 6 submissions, has never been submitted, which is why I honestly think this will stay on the feet. 2 decisions, 6-3 in Bellator, 6-1 in Ultimate Challenge MMA. And again, has fought in some really, really good opponents in Bellator. Ali is my pick. Minus 900 is insane, but we're going with it. On to the next one. Mansour Barnaoui against Yusuke Yachi. That is right, Yusuke Yachi coming over to Bellator from Ryzen to take on Barnaoui. And you know what? I'm going with the heavy underdog on this one. I'm going with Yusuke Yachi. He's coming in at plus 300, and yes, maybe a little bit of my Ryzen bias is seeping into this pick. But in all seriousness, I think he actually has a good shot to win. He's very well-rounded. He's a very capable grappler. He's fought many wrestlers and many BJJ guys. And he's honestly a pretty good striker as well. But so is Barnaoui. Barnaoui, I do think, is just the stronger fighter of the two. Barnaoui, though, from Road FC originally. So he's fought on the Asian scene. And if anything, Road FC is a step down from Ryzen. Now he had a lot of success in Road FC. But what I'm trying to say here is Yusuke Yachi fought at a higher level than that of Barnaoui on his way up. And in a different world, maybe these guys would have met on the Asian regional scene at one point, where I think they probably would have put on a good competitive fight then, and I think they're going to put on a good competitive fight now. Both fought similar level guys before getting to Barnaoui's Bellator to Yusuke Yachi's Ryzen. It's Yachi's debut in Bellator. He's on a 3-fight win streak right now, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, where he's actually taken out some really good opponents. Unanimous decision, rear naked choke, and another rear naked choke. Back-to-back rear naked chokes. He's 26-13, like I said, 34 years of age. Barnaoui's on a 2-fight losing streak, losing to Brett Primus and JJ Wilson. 20 wins, 6 losses for Tarzan. I know he's the heavy favorite, but I think Yachi is very capable of beating him, and what an underdog victory that would be. On to the next one. We got the big boys. We got the heavyweights. Slim Trabelsi against Louis Sutherland. Now, Louis Sutherland is 6-2 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, up against the undefeated Slim Trabelsi, and I'm going with Big Slim from Poland. He's undefeated, and I just think he's a little bit more well-rounded. For a heavyweight, I do think he has better cardio than Sutherland. I do think he'll be able to manage his gas tank while dictating the pace of the fight. He can take a punch. He can definitely knock you out. And he can grapple with you a little bit. Whereas Sutherland is one-dimensional. He's more of a brawler, ladies and gentlemen. He's more of a brawler, fighting out of Scotland. 6 KO, TKO, 0 submissions, 0 decisions. He's lost 2 decisions. Never been knocked out. Never been submitted. 1-1 in the PFL right now. He's fought some decent guys, back-to-back 5-2 guys, but I really think Slim is just the more complete fighter here. The odds on this one are a little crazy given that he's minus 500 and Sutherland's plus 350. It is heavyweight, so if Sutherland cracks him, maybe that's a good underdog pick as well. But like I said, Slim is just better all around. Sutherland does have some dangerous power, but he's knocked out guys who have never gone on anywhere after their fight in the sport, whether that was like their one and done fight that they wanted to try out, professional mixed martial arts, or guys who just continued to lose. And I don't want to hear the argument that Sutherland was the reason for that. No. He's been crushing cans who had decent records or similar records of like 1-1, guy making their debut and Sutherland was 2-3 fights in sort of thing. I think the power and grappling of Slim will be too much. He might crack Sutherland as well, and Slim's cardio is better if this does go the distance. So we're going Slim, ladies and gentlemen. We're going Slim Jim. Next, we have what will be a slaughtering in France, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why Bellator is doing this to Thibault Gouti. Why are they doing this? Archie Colgan's going to kick his ass. Archie Colgan's going to kill this man, dude. I'm going with Archie Colgan. He's the minus 600 favorite, and for good reason. Gouti old man, 37 years of age, 17-6 as a pro, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. I get it, but he has not been that active. He has not been that active, ladies and gentlemen. He last fought a year ago. Before then, over a year and a half ago. 2 years ago was his third last fight. I mean, I get not being as active the older you get. Preserve that body. But man, why couldn't they put this guy up against someone who he actually had a chance of beating, not a very dangerous, undefeated 9-0 Archie Colgan, ladies and gentlemen. Archie Colgan is 28. He is very, very dangerous. Quick hands, super powerful, insane strength, and a great developmental resume. He's a college wrestler at the University of Wyoming who fell in love with his hands, and his hands have served him well. 5 KO, TKO, 1 submission, 3 decisions. 6-0 in Bellator, 2-0 in LFA. Even dabbled in that one American Eagle FC show as well. And he hasn't fought schmucks, ladies and gentlemen. 6-0, he took on a 5-0 guy. Then he took on a 20-8 guy, 17-7. When he was 2-0, he took on a 3-2. And he's 3-0, took on a 4-1. That's what I'm saying. His development was amazing, and he also went 3-0 in the amateur scene, taking on guys who were 4-1 and 3-1 respectively. Colgan's going to win. He's probably going to knock him out. Let's call it for what it is and move on to the next one. Next, we have Yves Landu against Jonas Bilharinho. You guys might remember Jonas Bilharinho from Dana White's Contender Series. He actually scored a very, very beautiful knockout, spinning a wheel kick KO, and Dana White chose not to sign him. So he goes back to the regional scene and actually continues to dominate. And I think he's going to dominate this fight as well. I got him winning this one. He is the slight favorite at -120. I think recently he's fought better guys. He's 11-2-1 as a pro. Landu, 20-9. Though Landu's on a 4-fight win streak right now, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 37 years of age, and Jonas is a motherfucker. Jonas is a dangerous fighter. He's 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's on a 2-fight win streak, 8 KO TKOs, 1 submission, 2 decisions. He can beat you going the distance, but he's going to look for that finish. And it's with a mix of beautiful kicks, knees, elbows, strikes. He can mix it up. Good grappling as well. It's crazy that Dana White didn't sign this cat. Again, Landu's on a great win streak, but it's not against the same level of opponents that Jonas has been fighting. He's 5-1 in Bellator. Last win was a split decision. 2 unanimous decisions. And he did get a good win against Gavin Hughes, who was 10-2 at the time, where he landed a nice body kick to put him out in the first round, and has remained active despite this being his first fight in 2024. He was active in 2022 and 2023. I just think Jonas Bilharinho is just too dangerous, and I think he's going to finish him. All right, next we have Gregory Babene against Costello van Steenis. Now, Van Steenis hasn't fought in just over a year, and he lost to Douglas Lima via unanimous decision. He's 3-2 in his last 5 fights, going up against the 40-year-old out of Paris, France, who's the underdog at +200, but he's 5-0 in his last 5 fights. 23 wins, 11 losses. Oh my goodness. And he's been more active than Costello van Steenis. Oh, he beat Charlie Ward 7 months ago. Mike Shipman, he knocked out 2 years ago. So that's the thing. He didn't fight in 2 years, came back 7 months ago and got a good win against Charlie Ward. Van Steenis is only 31 years of age. God, I'm going with Van Steenis. Don't fucking let me down, bro. I'm going with Van Steenis. 3 KO TKOs, 7 submissions, 3 decisions. I think he'll be able to tire out the 40-year-old after the first round, especially if he goes grappling heavy. If he decides to stay on the feet, he's probably going to get knocked out. He's probably going to get caught with something early, assuming Gregory is willing to strike with him and employs quick hands in the first round and not hold back a little bit to try to save a little bit of gas for every round. I mean, he's too old for that at this point. He's got to go for it. Before losing to Lima, he beat a 9-1 guy via Darce choke and a split decision victory against Fabian Edwards. Put on a good 6-fight win streak before suffering his 3rd loss to John Salter. He's good. He's younger. He should win, but we got to watch out for Gregory Babene, as he is dangerous. He is dangerous. 7 KO TKOs. And in his prime, was no slouch on the ground either, as he has 13 submissions to his name. God, he's 40 years old though, so I gotta give it to Van Steenis. All right, co-main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have Cedric Doumbé against Jaleel Willis. Now, I really like this matchup. I really do. You're not putting 2 prospects up against each other like Doumbé's last fight. Doumbé versus the Splinter. Doumbé versus the Piece of Glass. Doumbé versus Baki. Baki now signed to the UFC, by the way. Wow. I like this because this is a complete fighter to go up against Cedric. Cedric Doumbé 5-1 as a pro. Obviously lost to the Splinter in his last fight. Was on a 4-fight win streak before then. Very talented kickboxer to come out of glory. He's got the death touch, ladies and gentlemen. 31 years of age, going up against the 32-year-old Jaleel Willis, who's 16-5 as a pro, 2-3 in his last 5 fights, but is a very well-rounded and balanced fighter. It's crazy that he's the underdog at +400. Guys, drop a little some on him, just in case. Now, I'm picking Cedric Doumbé to win. I'm going to say it right now. I think he'll land something on the counter. I do think he'll be able to counter wrestle, but Willis is a very capable journeyman. He really is. 5 KO TKOs, 0 submissions. So yeah, his submission game's not there, but he is of a wrestling background, and he's good at just grinding out a win. He's good at wearing you down with the ground and pound, as he's won 11 decisions. 4-3 in Bellator, 3-2 in LFA, and 1-0 in the World Series of Fighting. Lost to a very, very talented Magomedov a year ago, before then beat Kyle Kruchmer. And is honestly, other than the kind of a bad win to Saba Homasi, he's only really taken on good opponents in the LFA, in Summit FC, in Bellator. 9-2, 11-4, 14-1, 9-1, 10-0. So I really like this matchup. It's not a high-level guy, it's not a prospect, but it's a capable fighter. And if Cedric Doumbé takes out a 16-5 journeyman, then it's like, okay, now he can take a step up in competition, or right into maybe the rankings, or right into someone who they can further sell the fight with. Although it's Cedric Doumbé, you really only need him to sell the fight. From what I saw in the last fight against Baki, I think it showed that he can grapple. He has some good scrambles there. He was getting out of some of those threatening positions of Baki. He was scrambling well. He was rolling well. He stuffed some takedowns. His counter wrestling, again, small sample size, but looked good. A very dangerous grappler in Baki. Cedric Doumbé can take a punch. He's a dangerous striker. He's got the death touch. And his timing, his ability to grasp the timing so quickly in a fight will give him the edge in this one if he wants to land maybe an uppercut on a takedown entry or just strike with Willis. He's just too scary, man. Cedric Doumbé is just too scary, so that's why I'm going with him. All right, main event of the evening. Patchy mix against Magomed Magomedov 2, ladies and gentlemen. They got to recycle fighters for Patchy mix right now. God, it sucks this guy's not in the UFC. He truly is the best fighter not in the UFC right now. Patchy no love mix. 19-1 as a pro, 5-0 in his last 5 fights up against Magomed Magomedov. He's 20-3 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, coming off a win. Patchy mix has beaten this cat before, ladies and gentlemen. The Russian is 32 years of age. 3 KO TKO, 11 submissions, 6 decisions. Not the best striking for Magomedov. He is a wrestler. He is a Magomedov. He likes to go for the submissions. He has won via decision 6 times, though. 7-1 in ACB, 4-2 in Bellator. Beat Danny Sabatello in his last fight before then, lost to Patchy mix, and actually got choked out by Patchy mix in the second round. Rafael Stotts actually also beat him unanimous decision in a grappling heavy affair, too. His only other loss but before that was to Piotr Jan, which, hey, no shame in that. No shame in that. But Patchy mix, ladies and gentlemen, who is going to win this fight again and is my pick, is on another level. He's only 30 years of age right now, and he's the big favorite at -275. 2 KO TKOs, 13 submissions, 4 decisions, 8-1 in Bellator, 1-0 in Ryzen. Choked out Sergio Pettis in his last fight. Knocked out Rafael Stotts in the first round. Beat Magomed Magomedov via guillotine choke. Beat Kyoji Horiguchi unanimous decision. James Gallagher via guillotine choke. And his only loss was to Juan Archuleta via unanimous decision. Man, even as an amateur, he went 11-0. Patchy mix is going to absolutely destroy this guy. Patchy mix can absolutely destroy this guy. They already beat him. He's one of the best 135 pounders on the planet. He's beaten the best of Bellator, Ryzen. He could dominate in the UFC. He's tough. Been there, done that with Magomed. And he's just so good everywhere. Wrestling, striking, grappling. He's younger as well. And he has more experience, believe it or not. Magomed's good. Not as well-rounded as Patchy mix. And Patchy mix is better where Magomed thrives. And that is in the grappling and wrestling. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my picks. Let me know yours in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one.